Hey guys, you just checking in today. I'm here to bring you my Kingdom Hearts 2 60 frames per second tutorial. So let me get out my notebook that I took all of my notes in for, well, this entire video, because this video is going to be kind of in depth because I want to make sure that everybody gets the point and how I did this, and so I don't have to answer any questions, because I think it's a pretty straightforward, easy process, and I don't think anybody should struggle with it if you just follow some simple instructions. First things first, a few disclaimers. My computer is pretty beefy, and you need a pretty beefy computer to, one, run the game at 60 frames per second. And the emulator will tell you, even when the game's running at 30 frames per second, it's 60 frames per second, because 60 frames per second in the emulator means that it's running full speed. But if you want to get the double effect, which I guess would be like 120 frames, which comes out to be 60 frames in the emulator, then you're just going to have to follow these instructions. So first things first, another thing I want to say, because like I said, this is going to take a pretty beefy system to run. My computer has an i7-3770, which is at 5 gigahertz. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 750 watt power supply, and a GTX 760. Yeah, so it's a pretty beefy rig. It's not as beefy as a lot of people's, but it's strong, and it's probably overkill, and you probably don't need all these specs to run this game. You can probably do it on 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it's whatever. And some other things that I want to talk about is when you do the upscaling of the graphics, it can make some battles harder. So if you're planning on playing the game fully through on these settings like I did, then keep in mind that you're going to have to turn the native resolution on for some battles. And here's a perfect example right here.
Simply amazing, Roxas.
Axel.
You really do remember me this time. I'm so flattered! But you're too late! Come here, I'll make it all stop. Come on! Simply amazing, Roxas.
Axel.
You really do remember me this time. I'm so flattered! But you're too late! Come here, I'll make it all stop.
Okay, so if you guys didn't notice, pretty much Axel during the battle with the native 60 FPS, it ran smoothly at 60 frames, whereas if you look at the battle with the upscaled graphics, and you can obviously tell they're upscaled. I mean, the textures look better, the bloom effects, the anti-aliasing, all that looks better. And I'm sorry if I spoiled some of the game for you guys who are still playing, but it's it's really not that big of a spoiler compared to how good the plot is. So in order to run this game at 60 frames per second, there are a few things that I'm going to have to ask you guys to do. So first things first is open up the emulator. I have mine in my folder right here. I have a Wii for GameCube, PSP, PS3, PS2, and then open up the emulator. Now this right here is how I run things at, well, ultra settings, and how it looks really nice. I go to configuration, video, GS, plugin settings, and then right here is, well, you're going to want to change this to 3D N9 software or hardware. Or hardware or software, doesn't really matter. I haven't noticed a difference. But right here, you're going to want to uncheck this native resolution, because then the game will run at the native 240 or 360p that the PS2 version was at. So you're going to want to uncheck it. Don't touch any of this stuff. Set this based on your computer to 2 times native, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And since my computer is pretty powerful, it can handle 6 times. So click OK on that. Next thing you want to do is, since you know that this is your since you know that this is where all your files are saved for the PS2, and like I have a little game file here, I just think it's easier to keep all my stuff organized like this, my BIOS. Go into your cheats folder and take the file that I uploaded that will be like a mega upload or maybe a Google Drive, and you're going to download this pnash file that I have there. And inside the pnash file, it's going to be the 60 FPS hack, and it's more of a cheat that enables the game to run at 60 frames per second. So you're going to want to just drag and drop it in here, and that's that. I mean, it's really not that complicated. So that's pretty much it. Then you're done. If this code doesn't work, 'cause I think it's saved exclusively for a specific type of Kingdom Hearts 2 file, it should work for everybody, but I think it's Final Mix exclusive. And I think if I go into my documents, I should have something saved right here, which is the Kingdom Hearts 2 60 FPS codes. Now, I don't know much about this, but I got it from another YouTuber who also did a video on this, but he didn't tell you guys how to do all the patching and run the game at a higher scale. If you're running it on Kingdom Hearts 2, then you're going to want to plug this right here in for this. And then if this code doesn't work, then you plug this into there, which is the one that I have that works for me. And if that doesn't work, then put this up here. And you guys can just pause the video and just type it in. It's pretty simple. And I'll most likely have the codes in the description, so keep in mind to read the description. And I think that's about it. Just one last thing. Go to System, enable cheats, and you're good. Then your games will run at 60 FPS. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this brief tutorial. And keep in mind that this can run your system down. It's pretty demanding to run the game at 6 times the native resolution. And another thing is, when you hit people up into the air, they'll come down much faster than in the regular 30 frames per second version of the game. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to show it to your friends, share it, and if you guys enjoyed the content, be sure to like, subscribe for more Kingdom Hearts content. I'll come at you guys later. Have a good one.